Somalia, the country with the largest national coastline of 3,000 kilometers in Africa, is nothing short of beauty. But the perennial insurgency and terrorist attacks by the Al-Shabaab mar the beautiful name it has created for itself. With over 3 decades of combat and unrest, the pillars of democracy have tumbled, rule of law and governance a thing of the past. Regardless, the country remains committed in its journey to recovery. It has hosted tens of thousands of troops in its volatile central and southern regions for the last 16 years. For 15 years, the Africa Union Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, camped at Somalia beginning January 2007 before paving way for the Africa Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, in January 2022. Less combative but still saliently powerful as its predecessor, ATMIS aims at helping the war-stricken nation to not only be free from acts of terror, but also have enough mechanisms to govern itself.
We are working alongside with them. Even the Somali police are with us. We are always working around the clock.
There has been humanitarian aid too, for the war has come with its own consequences, including lack of food, water, and inadequate medical services. The soldiers try as much as possible to live their normal lives along their military duties.
Here you can see there are quite a number of officers, staff officers from different countries. 14 countries are represented here.
Through these efforts, the Somali National Army is growing even stronger. But all is not as good as it seems. The Al-Shabaab still poses a threat to the sovereignty of the country. In May 26th, Al-Shabaab mounted a deadly attack on a military base housing some 200 Ugandan soldiers. ATMIS confirmed that at around 5 a.m., the Peacekeepers Forward operating base in Bulo Malere, approximately 120 kilometers southwest of Mogadishu, was attacked by the Al-Shabaab. The militants used a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device and suicide bombers. The attack left over 50 soldiers dead. Bulo Malere was once recaptured by the ATMIS in 2014 that gave way to the establishment of a military base there to maintain order. The commander at that time, Major General Dick Olum, confirmed they had recaptured Bulo Malere and they will stay there to ensure peace.
It was a well-planned operation under the Battle Group Commander, Battle Group number 12, Battle Group 12, with the 37 Battalion, 43 Battalion, and 61 Battalion. This location of Bulo Malere was actually the responsibility of 37 Battalion, and they moved in smartly, cautiously, and we took over the city at exactly 1:30 hours.
Residents even went back to their homes. Community engagement proved helpful in that mission. Without enhancing the community, the Al-Shabaab will win the minds of the locals, telling them that the AU is meddling in their self-determination and wants to control them, and this will not be a tough task since the Al-Shabaab has enough resources to hire more fighters.
They are still controlling large areas in Somalia. We know they are still controlling in southern Somalia areas, including Buale, of Middle Juba, the whole region. So the rural areas, the agricultural land, the farms, everywhere, they are still collecting the taxes. So these taxes is enough for them to run their operations.
Also, they know how to effectively use civilians as human shields to frustrate government's operations to flush them out.
We want your people, your children, to go to school.
This is why there has been insistence on community engagement in the war against terror. The name Ahmed Abdi Godane, also known as Mukhtar Abu Zubair, is well known even in Kenya. He was the emir of Al-Shabaab. He died in a US airstrike in Somalia in 2014. Since taking charge of Al-Shabaab in 2008, Godane restyled the group as a global player in the Al-Qaeda network, carrying out bombings and suicide attacks in Somalia and elsewhere in the region, including orchestrating the September 21st, 2013 attack on Westgate Shopping Mall in Nairobi that left 67 dead. Despite the ferocity of the Al-Shabaab, ATMIS will be conducting its first drawdown of 2,000 troops, 400 soldiers from Kenya, another 400 from Uganda, another 400 from Ethiopia, another 650 from Burundi, and another 150 from Djibouti will be leaving the country. Though the drawdown should effectively push the Somali security forces to fill in the gap left by the departing troops, there still remains a concern.
The drawdown is ideally a good idea to encourage the government to take this responsibility, security responsibility of its country. This is not a time until the government soldiers are well equipped, until Somali's military sanction is lifted.
Now it is time for ATMIS to accomplish the mission begun by AMISOM. There has been change of guard at ATMIS in the last 4 months. This saw the new ATMIS commander, Lieutenant General Samo Kiding, taking over from Lieutenant General Diomede Ndegea from Burundi, who completed his duty of tour late last year.
I look towards joining my colleagues whom I have just met to ensure that together we can be able to ensure that there is stability or it is a success for ATMIS and for the general good of the Somali people.
It is the hope of the AU and contributing countries that there shall be everlasting peace and stability in Somalia. Steve Otieno, NTV.